Welcome to the Dingus Den for the start of a brand new series. Oh, that's exciting, isn't it? Hellboys here. It's kind of, I guess, what you could call the sister series to what me and Chris does over at Shell Talk, where me and Castro, welcome in Castro, are going to be talking about Hellboy stuff. And we're better to start than with the first ever Hellboy story arc, Seed of Destruction. Let's get on into it.
Welcome to the Dingus Den.
All right. Well, this is just exciting here to talk about what I feel like is one of the most iconic stories in the comic world, as Hellboy really helped pioneer stuff. It came out in 1994, which is funny enough, the year that the main story is set. I didn't realize that until when I was gathering up a couple of dates with stuff, which is interesting. But yeah, that's cool. And so Hellboy recently celebrated, was at 30 years, turned 31 this year, or turns 31 this year. I don't know exactly when this came out, but point is that we're talking about his first ever story, which is something that I've read a couple times before, and now we're about to dive into it here, where it's done by Mike Mignola, comic legend. You know, this is like a big thing where I feel like he really made his name made his mark. His Hellboy was something very special, and we'll delve into that. But yeah, also to say as well, that script was also done by John Byrne, who's another huge comic name. So yeah, it's so cool to just finally delve into this, as this is such a huge issue or set of issues. Do you have anything to say before we get on into it?
No, I definitely agree. I think this is a piece of comic book history. Hellboy is a big comic, man. I want to say that I've actually never delved into anything Hellboy until today. So
That's
super
exciting.
excited for this whole series we're doing here. Just to learn way more about Hellboy. This is the first thing I've read by Mike as well. I've never seen any of his work. I've seen it, obviously. His art's dope, but
Yeah.
I've never read any Hellboy. So to get into this series, I've seen some of the films, and those are cool. Big fan of Ron Perlman. He's a goat. So when I was reading it the whole time, all I could hear was Ron Perlman's voice, which was absolutely awesome. But yeah, man, I'm excited to check the Hellboy series out, man, and potentially some of the spin-offs as well. I don't know if we're getting into that, but we'll see. Yeah, man, I loved it. It was a fucking blast, and I can't wait to jump into it with you guys. So
Absolutely. Yeah. I completely agree. And let's just get right on into it with chapter 1, where it opens up with reading a journal entry by Sergeant George Whiteman, from December 23rd, 1944, prime time of World War II, where, there's Nazis in this, and dealing with the threat of the Nazis as they're in the final stages of Project Ragnarok, which is like this big project that deals with this paranormal stuff, and it's like the intelligence like didn't really know like what this stuff was, like what paranormal stuff was, until like a week before and all that stuff. And anyway, they don't know what this plan is, but the plan is happening that night on December 23rd. And so then that's where we then see what's exactly going on here, where there's these Nazis then start performing this ritual. Some interesting looking Nazis there, especially the one performing that ritual.
real occult like vibes.
Oh yes, 100%. But yeah, and at first it seems like it was just a huge explosive failure, but then coming from the big blast as it all clears out, we see that there's this little Hellboy, quite literally, as he's just a little child then, that's just sitting in the middle there. And you brought up the films earlier, and like the
There we go. Yeah,
they literally did this.
they did. So again, being a first time reader, super cool to go and see that literally ripped right out of the fucking
Oh yeah,
comic, man. And I had no idea they did that. So that was really cool. And man, kind of dope to see some accuracy to the Nazis as well, in the sense of Himmler, which is mentioned as well later in the comic. I don't know if you caught it, but
Mhm.
Himmler was really big into occult type shit. Wild dude, man, wild dude. So to see them, participating in occult activity makes sense. Accurate, I will say. Valid. So yeah,
Yes.
real scary scene, man. And the art, beautiful.
Oh,
Beautiful. They
McNeil,
killed
like,
us.
killed it in his art here. Like this is like what really solidified his great style, and
Yeah,
like he's just one of those people that has a unique style, and like he just does what he does best with his style. You know, everybody has their own artistic
I
style.
agree.
His is very recognizable
The
throughout.
color choices are very unique. It's a
Yeah,
lot of dark shades, you know what I mean, and it really makes for somehow it makes everything pops. It brings it to life. But go ahead, man.
yeah. Shout out to the colorist who worked on this as well. I don't have the name uh, available right in front of me here, but he did a great job as well, killing it all the way through with all this. Absolutely.
100%.
But anyway, we cut forward several years, 50 years, where Trevor Bruttenholm, there's some weird names of this I'm probably going to butcher as we go. I'm not going to lie. uh, he's now with a grown up Hellboy, Hellboy as we know him, right? And we see that he's struggling to tell Hellboy exactly what he wants to know. You can tell that he's really old. You can tell he's trying to recall stuff that is going on with this expedition that he went on to the frozen ruins of the temple of Yangkor. And that's where he found a statue of this monster, and it's there's this like very lifelike man statue that he notices, and then his memory starts acting up again after he recalls all this. And then that's where all of a sudden we see that there's these frogs that appear, and Trevor then dies. Hellboy then fights this big like frog-like devil or demon or whatever you want to call it. And Hellboy wins the fight by shooting it. You notice a human skull falls from it. And after that, he then calls the BPRD, as we know it, which stands for the Bureau of Paranormal Research and Defense. And yeah, Hellboy calls him up and he's like, come over and figure out what the hell this beast is that I just killed. And it then ends with this reveal of the shadowed figure and this old lady named Emma, and the plan of like there's some sort of plan going together. And then we see that there's a frog resting in Emma's cup. And what I find really interesting about this, too, before we delve into the issue itself, is we get right after this issue, but before the next issue begins in the trade, there's a little thing about frogs, about talking about frogs being the harbingers of doom, and there's like this little like story about like African frogs, which is obviously where like a big influence of the story came from, which I thought that was interesting for them to include right after as well, as a big part of Hellboy is actually taking all this like real myths and stuff like that, all these real fictional stories and folk tales and legends and all that sort of stuff, such as these African frogs that are referenced there. And that's what makes Hellboy special, is it combines all this special stuff into like a modern. You have to think, when this came out, this was the modern time for them in the 90s when this story is set. And yeah, it's just a new way to reinvent paranormal stuff. And so yeah, it was really cool for them to include that extra little bit, to be like, oh, this is where this thing came from. Especially when you're reading this issue and you're like, what the heck, frogs? Oh, frogs killed the guy? And oh, There's a frog in her cup. What the hell is this about?
I definitely agree, especially because within this entire 4 book series, I feel there's a lot of what the heck moments. So for them to have some more grounded things like that, to put something in there, you know what I mean? Tracing back to like kind of where they got the influence, as you said. I mean, I think that's really, really incredible, man.
Oh yeah.
And it just shows the research done going into said project,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
which is super dope as well.
Yeah. I mean, it's just what makes Hellboy special, with the special blend of like the tone, the setting, what the story is all about, blending in all these story elements. It's what makes Hellboy special. And I think they got it right off the bat with this issue. You know, we already spoke on how he came about, which the movie got right 100%, which was really cool to see.
Yeah.
I remember, I don't remember if I watched the movie first or read the comic first, because I remember I read this comic a long time ago for my first time. But I remember seeing that relation of like how close it is. Like that is one of the most comic accurate moments out of all comic book movies, which is just cool. You know, to literally see that ripped to screen that way. But then yeah, we get to see Hellboy also very much as we like know him very much right off the bat as well. I just love how he's you know, fighting that frog beast, and you know, so much in his attitude of like, okay, I'm tired of punching you. Let me just shoot you in the face, which is, you know, so much of his attitude, which I you know, they just like got his character like right off the bat. So
That's exactly what I was gonna say, man. As soon as we get the Hellboy that we know and love, shout out to Kid Hellboy, you always be goated too, bro, baby Hellboy. But you know what I'm saying? We know adult fucking Hellboy. At least those people to watch the movies. You know what I'm saying? Right off of the bat, they cut into Hellboy dialogue, man, and it very much feels like it did in the film. You know what I'm saying? Or should I say, the film feels just like it does in the comic, man. They got his dialogue down packed, man. I feel like they really did a good job. I loved his dialogue, man. It's big machismo, but not too machismo. It's good, man. And from that opening part, right after Hellboy's born or whatever, when it goes to Hellboy and I'm gonna say his father. I don't know his real name. I don't know how to pronounce it. Brumenheim or Broom. So I don't know.
Trevor's his first name, but yeah.
Yeah, Trevor. And the writing was phenomenal right off the bat. You know what I'm saying? His father off the bat just seemed super troubled. You know what I mean? And Hellboy trying to console him. And then, as you said, into the fight with the frog. You know what I mean? I like I said, I felt like they just absolutely nailed it. I loved him talking about his hand, them not knowing necessarily where it came from or how it came to be.
Right. Yeah, that's a huge part of the story, is it lays a foundation and it really highlights this mystery of where you came from, what Hellboy's purpose is, and the hand is
100%.
the first part of that puzzle, where he's like, he has this, you know, that special right hand, and it's like, well, why is this that way, and what is it that you can do with it? And
he can definitely punch shit. Tell you that.
Yeah, when he doesn't have his trusty gun, he punches stuff, but still usually punches things first, or else.
Speaking of his gun, speaking of his gun, man, where he got the gun. We didn't talk about the fact that Liberty is it Liberty Bell? No, it's not Liberty Bell. That's the boys. What is this? Fucking Torch of Liberty? Are you knowing what I'm talking about? There's another superhero in the very beginning when they're there with the team.
Yeah, we see
Liberty's torch or something like that. I don't know his name, guys. Sorry, but go back and read the fucking comic if you want to know. It's really good. But anyway, he's there, and Hellboy references a bit later that's where he got the gun, was from said dude, that fucking superhero. First off, to see another superhero, I'm not familiar with the world. So to see another superhero like our everyday superheroes that we know and love, Superman, Batman, to see a guy like that, full fucking superhero uniform with the mask and shit, how cool was that, man? And then to find out like Hellboy got a gun from him, like that gives more fucking meaning to the gun. You know what I mean? Like I had no idea that gun was anything other than a big ass fat revolver. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So super cool, super cool. Again, I feel like they nailed it. It was really a really good first
I agree.
issue.
I agree.
Uh, Especially, it's such a great starting point for somebody that's not familiar with the Hellboy world.
Oh yeah,
I mean, they this whole 4 issues, which we'll be getting into. Sorry, guys, I try so hard not to get into spoilers, but you know what I mean. It really builds out a nice piece. I'm not going to say the whole thing, but a nice piece of his origin.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
absolutely. I think you're bringing up a good point of they figured out a great entry point of setting up this mystery of like you're just so excited to see what's even beyond this
yes,
volume and into future volumes, but also we delve into a point where it's oh, there's 50 years since Hellboy came into this world, and they have so many
oh my
titles,
god,
and
you are
so
talking to me right now.
there's a reason why this Hellboy universe is massive. And there's so many titles now that comes out within this universe that's not even related necessarily with Hellboy. Like there's Frankenstein series out of like we don't know who this Frankenstein series is yet, and they're doing the Frankenstein series set in this Hellboy world.
So again, to just echo off of what you're saying, bro, there's just to show how big this world is. And I imagine when they first started, how fans must have felt. There are so many times within this 4 issue series.
Mhm.
Again, you guys will find out if you read it, or we're going to tell you about it here. You know what I'm saying? Hit the subscribe button. But there's so many moments within this series where Hellboy himself references, back when I was in whatever this happened, or you know what I'm saying? Like, it's going to be so cool to go through this
Yeah.
and experience these little moments that he referenced. You know what I'm saying? Back when he mentioned a job that they were doing in China. Like, I don't know. So cool to see that you nail on the head. 50 years? Wait, Hellboy's 50 years old? I mean, bro
Yeah.
does not look it. He is all the bit of red thickness. You know what I'm saying? Anybody can fucking ever imagine. I didn't know dude was 50 years old. That's insane. That's so
Yeah.
much lore. There's so much there that we are going to get into.
Oh
So,
yeah.
like, dope, dope, dope,
So
dope. I
exciting.
am excited. Yeah.
So exciting. To just see what's next, including what's up next with chapter 2. Where chapter 2, we're introduced to his companions, Elizabeth Sherman, or AKA just
Love how they did this, by the way. Love how they went about the introduction. The dead. Tell them, mess up. Tell them. Do your
yes.
thing.
We also get to meet Abraham Sapien, where all three of them arrive at this cursed place known as Cavendish Hall, where the Cavendishes is who organized the expeditions up north, the same expeditions that that we were just talking about that Trevor was part of. We learned that these. Hellboy questions the main lady who opens the door for him. Very similar clothing to this lady that we saw end of last issue. Hint, hint, wink, wink. Learn that these expeditions are very special to the family for 9 generations, which is a long time.
9 generations.
Yeah, Hellboy tries to find out stuff about the frogs, as Hellboy just wants to know what happened to his father figure. But anyway, they have this big session due to some sort of scrap of ancient parchment, which their family lost a long time ago. But special thing for the family. And Miss Cavendish is the last of her lineage, as it is revealed that her children mysteriously died. Cut to the next scene with Miss Cavendish, who we learn is Emma, same Emma from last issue, of last issue, and we see that shadowed figure that was also with Emma there at the end, saying that the work can even be completed sooner than expected, and that Emma can get her two oldest children back as they have some sort of bargain. That's where we then see the protagonists each in their own rooms. We learn that Elizabeth is a pyrotechnic. She had this tragedy where she wasn't able to, control her powers, and left her being the only one surviving her and her family. And tragic story that we just got a little bit with her. But all you need to know is that she has a special power involving fire stuff, that comes from within her. That she's learned to harness all these years with joining the BPRD, and She's a pyrotechnic. She does cool fire stuff. Then in another room, Abe and Hellboy are together. Abe reveals that the butler, looks like somebody named. I'm probably gonna butcher this name because I have no idea how the hell to say this name. But Sven Olafsson. He's
Fire.
yeah,
Perfection. Did such a good job.
he's revealed that he's from the expedition. Somebody that was on that expedition. Abe reveals, takes off his clothing because he is like mysteriously dressed and dark shadow over him, and you can tell he looked quite pale. But anyway, he takes off his clothing and reveals that he's this fish person, who we don't get much about him other than just saying that he comes from this long forgotten chamber that had the date of when Abraham Lincoln died, which is how he got his name, Abe. So, and then we see Abe jump out of the window into the lake that the manor is right by. Elizabeth has these frogs in her room, and like she's like calling like Hellboy through like this radio or something, and as Elizabeth tells him about the frogs in the room, Hellboy then rushes in and then finds nobody left. Then the butler interjects, and this butler then transforms into the same monster that we saw from last issue, the frog demon or whatever you call it. I just call it a frog demon because I thought of it, but frog monster. But anyway, this time we see Hellboy beat it to death with his stone fist, which that's where we get, I think, the first main reference of like, we don't know where this stone fist came from. And yeah, and also smashes him with a fancy vase. Abe, while underwater, he's not able to like find like any life or anything. That's a place of only death. And Hellboy then finds Emma dead, and then that's where the shadowed figure reveals himself. He's the person who, from 50 years ago, first summoned Hellboy, and then all of a sudden, these big tentacles then come out from the floor, grabbing Hellboy, and that's when he gets the warning of you need to harness your power of the right hand, or you die. And that's where we end off in this second chapter, halfway through the story.
Pretty intense. Off the rip, man. I want to jump back to the very fucking beginning of the book. Like I said, I love the way they introduced the whole team with Hellboy starting it off with a typical hi, I'm Peter Parker. I was bit by a radioactive spider ass intro with I'm Hellboy. Blah 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 blah. And then it did this cool thing where he was like, it showed the panel with him and his team standing there, and it said, I'll let the rest of my team introduce themselves. And then you got old girl, I forgot her name. What is it? Do you remember? Is it Emma?
Yeah, Emma's the old one.
Holding the badge and introducing herself. Yeah, I just thought that was a really unique, cool way to go about doing it. There's the moment where they're all sitting on the couch. I really enjoyed how they did this, where the old lady asks Abe, "Hey,
Emma's the old lady.
Elizabeth. Okay, I'm talking about Fire Girl, Fire Chick.
Okay,
you know what I'm talking about, though. Yeah. But anyway, the old lady Emma asks fucking Abe, like, "Are you sure you don't want us to take off your my man to take your jacket and your damn beard or whatever?" Or not your beard. She didn't ask about his fucking beard. Anyway, guys, Abe has a big trench coat on, fucking nice hat, some shades, and a damn beard, disguising himself because he's this amphibious looking fish man. So I just thought that was cool. So the first reveal you get of what Abe really looks like is when he takes his shit off to jump into the water. I thought that was super cool.
It's a cool first reveal of Abe because it's like, he's another character that kind of just blew up, but like this is his first appearance was in this second Hellboy issue where nobody knows of him, and like it's a cool thing of like you could tell there's something obviously wrong with him. Emma hinted at like, do you want to take off your coat and hat? And he's like, no.
So cool.
And so it is a cool reveal. It's like, oh, okay, he's a fish person now. Okay.
also, like, if Abe was to walk around in public as Abe, like, humans would freak the fuck out.
Oh,
He's
absolutely,
terrifying as a human. Shout out to Abe, probably a good guy, man.
absolutely.
If you ever see this, Abe, holla at your boy. But you know what I'm saying, dude's
Yeah,
scaly and slimy looking. So
yeah.
cool that they give him a fucking disguise. So really
Mhm.
dope, man. Really dope. Trying to think if there was anything else I remembered as far as that just really popped to me. I don't know. What do you got?
I mean, there's we get little hints of their backstories, so we just know the basic of like, hey, these are who these characters are. This is what you need to know, and obviously they'll be expanded a bit later on. So much so,
Yeah,
like Abe has a series of his own that lasted for a
he
decent
does.
bit. I remember looking at all the Hellboy stuff I have. I'm like, holy crap, there's a bunch of Abe stuff. That's crazy. So it's cool to see him expanded on. But yeah, no, this issue specifically, we get just more of this mystery. We actually can see the transformation of somebody into one of those frog demons,
We
uh,
do.
and seeing Hellboy beat it to death in a different way was fun. And we then get the reveal of who was actually behind this. Where I don't remember this name actually being said in the book, but his name is Samuel or Samuel. Uh, uh, aka he gave himself the title of Lord of Shadows.
You're talking about the wizard?
Yeah, the wizard dude,
Okay.
the main
Wizard Nazi.
guy.
The
So
Nazi wizard.
yeah, I just looked up his name because I don't remember that being name dropped, but obviously he'd
I
had
don't either.
because when I was writing these notes down, I was just like, yeah, he's the bad guy. Okay, because I didn't remember seeing a name anywhere. So, but yeah, we get to see that little somebody from Hellboy's past is now all of what's involved with this. Is he's the main cultist person to summon it all. Summon in Hellboy, and so.
And
But
it gets deeper with his
it's deeper.
storyline too. So I'm looking forward to jumping into that. Yeah, it gets deeper. So
It really does.
it's dope. He's been pulling strings for quite some time. For quite some time.
It's true. That's true. Actually, the next review is what gets into that. I think we should just go on and get into it. Is this
Do it.
flows right on into it, where Hellboy, he like loses the sense of time as he's just falling down and eventually reaches water, and he finds himself now rising up from the water and seeing that he's in these ruins where the main bad guy there, who's trying to get Hellboy to unleash his power. He wants to use it for himself. Hellboy shoots him. He's like, yeah, just shut up, lamb. And uh, his body doesn't fall over. Instead, his head just turns back and reconstructs itself. And
Brutal.
yeah, I know, right? It's so cool. It's like it literally the way they did it literally felt like a movie sequence.
Yes.
Which is cool. And a little side track here, but I read the intro to this trade. That I don't remember who did the intro for it, but some writer, and he was talking about. I never thought about this way, but he was talking. He was talking about how Hellboy changed the game, and how also believing that comics served as a big thing to help be a blueprint for how movies were made or are made. With this imagery of stuff that you're saying, especially now, so is more relevant than ever with all the comic book movies we're getting, But it's interesting though, because it's like, that exactly kind of feels like a storyboard that you'd see somebody make for a horror movie.
100%.
So
Oh, yeah, you're right.
So anyway, he turns back. He's can't get rid of him that easily. And so anyway, he's just taunting Hellboy. He's your kind of like typical sort of bad guy, talks a bunch and uh just keeps on talking about his plans and blah blah blah, haha, you can't beat me so easily, and unleashes another frog demon on Hellboy. We cut to Abe, who finds two frog demons holding their mother's body, and then just goes down into the water as
Creepy scene.
yes, that was very
It's
cool.
very creepy to me. Yeah.
And then this is where he then finds the other name I'm probably gonna butcher, Elihu Cavendish, and he's there with a big harpoon
Nailed it.
gun, and so. But Hellboy, he was battling this big frog demon. Where actually, for the first time, we actually see the demon win. He's knocking down Hellboy, and then that's where the bad guy then starts telling of his past. Telling he's had this long history with Nazis, telling about how he got involved with them, and after they lost, he traveled up north to this temple. One thing I do want to know here too, though, before that, is we see them that he was involved with this group of other like special like Nazis that you see pictured at this point too. Like you see, like one has like a head in a jar. You see this one with a big ape.
I saw the ape. And I think I had the same thought you're about to speak of as well when I saw the rest of that group. Like, go ahead, I want to hear what you.
It's an interesting group. You see an interesting mass figure and all that. It's an interesting group, to say the least. And
definitely
one of those. And anyway, reveals about how he like allied himself with 3 of them, and then that's how Project Ragnarok came about. Was these 3 worked all together, and he's like, "Well, but I'm actually the smartest one of all of you," and he felt like he got the final laugh because only he feels like he knows what Hellboy's capable of, and thus this plot here, because he thinks he's the only one that matters here, right? But anyway, cut forward a time, he goes to the temple. He gets wrapped in darkness there, and he starts communicating with these 7 beasts. They all have these weird different names, but anyway, cut forward to the expedition with Trevor, who then ends up awakening him with his visit there, which is then what ends up killing all the others, and he actually lets Trevor live, and thus planting him as the seed of destruction. Hint, hint, wink, wink to the title of this.
Nice.
And the main one that is working with the main bad guy, the main beast, is named Sadu Him, and yeah, like he's the one who was like saying, "Hey, he'll be the seed here." And then cutting back to current events, we see that the main bad guy there, he has Liz captured and revealed that big tentacle monstrosity is actually Sadu Him, which very much represents the statue that we saw earlier from the temple and all that. But anyway, Liz is going to be used as like a big conduit here to bring hell to this world, is what that main bad guy is willing to do. And then Hellboy's like, well, we're so screwed here. Where the hell is Abe? And then that's where we just see Abe laying down, looking as if he's defeated in front of Elihu. The Cavendish kid. But yeah. But yeah, like that's the big thing of like the biggest part of this was definitely, as we were just talking about before I got into what happened to this issue, it's what was going on with the bad guy there, which is interesting. Getting his backstory, and I felt like it's kind of for Vegan of like your typical bad guy story of like, oh, my home kind of felt like he's an outcast there, and then found his calling with the Nazis as everybody else there did. But it gets really interesting when you delve into these other characters that he's involved with, because as we talked about or mentioned, there's some very interesting looking guys there that'd be interesting to delve into more. We'll actually be talking about a couple of them at the very end, but so that. But yeah,
a couple things, man. Off top, that wizard yapped so fucking much through that issue. I'm not gonna lie, dude. He yapped way too much, but you're very right on a lot. I am so happy he did yap. You know what I'm saying? Because dude, jumping into his origin was incredibly interesting. For one, whenever he did find the Nazis, his part that he played.
Oh yeah.
From I think what's his name? What did I said it earlier? Himmler. When Himmler found him or whatever, I noticed Himmler had fucking interest in the occult stuff. Man, he got in business with him. And then later, like you said, he met those other fucking gorilla Nazi man, Frankenstein looking Nazi man, chick Nazi, whatever, whoever the fuck they were. You know what I'm saying, dude? He low key manipulated all of their minds to follow his goal. You know what I'm saying? Which is really fucking dope. You know what I'm saying? And like you say, you keep bringing them up, man. I'm really hoping to see them in later content, later issues. You know what I'm saying? Because there's a fucking gorilla Nazi. I mean, come on. I want to see that. I want to see Hellboy beat the hell out of that gorilla. But yeah, man, just super dope to jump into his origin.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was my favorite part. I thought it was really interesting. So
absolutely.
really cool.
And just seeing
Really cool.
more of the plot come together, you can tell that they obviously put a bit of thought into
Yeah,
setting up so much of the past with we're in a
100%.
interesting paranormal world with fish people and pyrotechnics, and it's like we kind of get a little hint of like the kind of bad guys you can expect that just would naturally be out there. And so
I do want to bring up the fight between Hellboy and this fucking giant demon frog as
yeah,
well.
sure.
Was a brutal fight. They really did that well. Hellboy's just getting smashed throughout the fucking whole fight. So
Yeah.
pretty intense. Almost to a point of no hope, I'd say. It looked as if our hero is down for the count by the end of the issue. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, they put everybody in such a dire situation. It seems like, everyone's fallen defeated is what it makes it look like, right?
100%.
Obviously, we know they make it out because there's so much more Hellboy beyond this, obviously. But it looks quite dire for him in this situation.
Yeah.
One thing I do want to talk about, though, is that little scene where Abe sees the two frog demons holding the mother's body and, goes down as it's hinted that I believe it was during this issue and not the next one where he was talking about how he turned all these people into like the frog demons and saying specifically her two children were the hardest because of like their heart's desire or something like that. And so, and we see that there too, right? Of like, oh, the two frog demons being her children that were promised back, or she was promised to have back, then taking her body and rebelling against like what's interesting is something I think would be interesting is that we could potentially see those characters later on.
I love it.
I
love it.
I don't
Good
know
idea.
is like that'd be interesting of like, or at the very least they're just still out there as they just go off into the water, off into their own wherever they decide.
How cool would it be to revisit them, to see them again? Like that's insane. I didn't think of that. That's maybe we just might. It makes sense. There's no reason not to.
It'd be interesting. I'd be like, oh yeah, you remember these from the very first Hellboy arc? Well, here you go.
Yeah,
but
nice.
It'd be cool.
I agree.
But then also, the highlight of this issue is obviously just showing the threat of what's really going on here, right? The second issue was about like setting up. Here we get to actually see what's going on here. Of like, oh, this Sadhu Him beast, where we don't know exactly what he comes from, where he comes from. All we can assume, I guess, is some sort of hell or something like that. We don't know.
Yeah.
He's behind all this though, and there's all these other entities, and things are looking pretty rough for him. That's for sure.
Really dark and intense issue for sure, man.
Oh yeah. And in the standout moment, just to mention it again, where Hellboy just shoots the main bad guy and then he just turns back. He's like, "No, you're not getting rid of me that easy. Like, come on."
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Done really well.
So good.
Yeah.
So good. But anyway, last issue here, chapter 4, to wrap up this story arc. We see as everybody's fallen, the main bad guy there, he starts enacting his plan. He's starting to use Liz as the conduit, and the frog demon, it's actually revealed that this frog demon specifically was the one who was Sven Olafsson, who was name dropped earlier. He's currently sucking out the life of Hellboy, And we then see the main bad guy there. He's then calling out to all the other beasts, trying to summon them all. And then we cut to see, this is such an interesting scene here where uh, I don't want to call them aliens, but they gave the vibe that they're aliens, you know, of like paranormal in between dimensions, I guess. Like, I don't quite know
I
where
could
they
definitely
are.
see between dimensional type. Yeah, I could see
It's
that.
kind of weird. Like, I don't know what you call them because the closest their look is kind of like Abe Sapien, but not really at the same time, as they have like all these real like like technical attachments all over them.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're very interesting looking. I'm really interested in seeing more of these people as we go, because they were like just they were only there for like what, that one page, but like what they were just hinting at was like, oh, they can tell Earth is drawing power from this core world that they mention, and is saying, oh no, this is what created this Earth, and it's going to be what's going to destroy it. But then they're like, wait, where in the world is all this power going? And it's interesting because it's like, I don't know what you call these people. Like, I don't know anything about them other than what's from this one page here. It's so interesting of seeing like there's more stuff here as, you know, where we know this is something called Hellboy, we'd assume that it's just, oh, he's just from hell, you know? But now it's insinuating like, wait. There's this core world that probably means there's, I guess, other worlds potentially. And then there's these people that maybe overlooks it, or at the very least watches over it. As it's very much like a space station that you kind of see that they're in the middle of wherever. Because it's not exactly space, because you're talking about between dimensions. So it's weird. Uh but
definitely wild. Yeah,
I was so fascinated by that though. I was like, okay, I can't wait to find out more about this and learn about more of these other dimensions. Because even though I've read this before in a couple other Hellboy stories, I haven't read much more of this. Like, no, much more. And so I'm just very curious to learn more about them later on. That was one of the biggest things for me in this issue. Couldn't wait to get into that before we continue on. But anyway, continuing on. Hellboy blows up the frog demon with a grenade, which is just cool because he just shoves it in his mouth and boom, kaboomy. The bad guy.
scene.
Oh yeah, right. The bad guy gets interrupted from his ritual as we see this harpoon goes through his chest, and that reveals Abe and Elihu has entered, and Liz then wakes up and then sets both the main bad guy Samuel and uh, Sadu him on fire. Just letting out all of what's within her. Hellboy, or sorry. Then there's a bunch of crazy stuff that just happens here. You know, big chain reaction as everything all of a sudden like just starts falling apart as this ritual just it's catastrophic as this ritual that obviously communicates between these two, just call it dimensions, essentially, is destroyed, and we're then seeing stuff just get sucked away into it, is what it seems like. Like everything's just getting destroyed at this point now. And so everyone starts escaping, but then right as they are escaping, the main bad guy who tries to fight Hellboy one last time, and we just get such a satisfying action sequence here. I think this is the best
I
action
agree.
sequence of all these issues. Of
Definitely.
where Hellboy's beating him up, because we can tell like he's back, kind of ghost-like. When he just comes back, you see his skin, and then Hellboy beats him up, and then it's just a skeleton remaining, and then Hellboy beats him up some more, and he's just holding his skull, and then just crushes it, like that satisfying like just crush with the skull in his hand. It's great. I love that action sequence there. I loved it so much. But then,
It was.
oh, go on.
No, you got it. Go ahead. I'm gonna get into it in a second.
All right.
I got shit to say. So
and so and then we just see the manor crashing down with Elihu inside. Uh, that's where we then see the heroes together. They got a little hint. They didn't really explain exactly what was going on with Mr. Cavendish there. That aka Elihu, who it was from somebody from the lineage that somehow woke up and was there, but they like kind of hinted at like, well, he had some sort of special connection there, but they don't know exactly why he woke up. They just know there's some sort of connection there as to why he woke up. Anyway, they're still just very much reeling from what just happened there. Hellboy recalls being told, though, being taunted from that bad guy that he'll never understands those powers within him. And then that's where we cut to this castle far out, who knows where we see the other three main Nazis that Samuel allied with, and the stasis machine, where like we see it beeping. Well, we see the color of it then turn red, and then these beeps starting or one long beep as I guess it's off. They're back. The other Nazis are back. So more from Hellboy's past to come, which will be interesting to see where that goes. I'm very much looking forward to it. But yeah, what a way to end this, though, right? As there's a lot happened. What's your thoughts on it?
So first off, I didn't. Somehow I missed that final panel completely of seeing them. I had no idea that you got to see them again. So I was hoping they'd be in the rest of the stories to come. So to find out that they are, that's fucking dope.
Yeah, it's the
Thank
one
you for
they
that.
allied with. I don't remember. I
Yeah.
remember like the special mask guy, and then I think the other two were a little more normal looking. But yeah, they were there.
So yeah, definitely dope to know that they're going to be coming. Pause. From the very beginning, man, of the Hellboy fight is where I want to talk, man. Again, issue 2 or issue 3, man, you see the man with no hope, and then like I feel like they captured it so well in this issue fucking 4 of him regaining. You know what I'm saying? Kind of like a heart fucking slow boom 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 boom. That hope coming back. He's like, no, all I need is one last chance, one more chance. Flips the fucking grenade in dude's mouth, blows his shit to smithereens, and then everything happened kind of so fast, and I loved it. As you say, it's the best action scene of the whole 4 parts. Phenomenal, bro. Out of nowhere, boom, you see Abe. Abe makes that leap. You know what I mean? Saves old girl. Fucking everything goes to shit. And then the dialogue there at the very end as Hellboy and everybody's making their escape, and Hellboy looks back and he's like, I don't think I'm finished here yet. You know what I'm saying? It has to turn back, bro. Goes and beats the hell out of the wizard, as you said. Fucking smashes his skull, and the wizard's like, I'm not finished with you. And right before that, he talks about, like you said, man, like if you kill me, you'll never know your past. And Hellboy's like, I can live with that or whatever, and then smashes his shit. But then at the very end of the book, before you see the fucking Nazis again, supposedly that happened. I don't know where the hell that happened at, but anyway, right before that happens, though, you know, they're asking, like, what do you remember? They're going around the circle, Abe, fucking girl, and Hellboy. I don't remember her name for anything. What's
Liz?
Yes. Liz. Yeah, they're all going around like, yo, what do you remember that just happened? That was weird. And they finally make it to Hellboy and, you know, ask him if he's okay. And he's like, yeah, I'm okay. But, you know, because he's a grizzled fucking tough badass. You know what I'm saying? But deep down, Hellboy has feelings. Deep down, it shows a panel or a picture of Hellboy looking away and thinking back to those fucking words that the wizard said of like, you'll never know who you truly are. You never know your fucking past or whatever, man. And meaning we're going to get more of Hellboy's past because there's no way they're going to leave that stone unturned. So dope, so dope. They nailed it. I thoroughly enjoyed the Seed of Destruction run, man. This whole thing was phenomenal. I am super excited to delve into some more Hellboy. Again, I had never faced Hellboy content, so you've turned me into a Hellboy fan today, and I am looking forward to getting more and more into some fucking Hellboy, man, because it was dope. What were your thoughts, man? How'd you feel?
Yeah, it was such a explosive finale, literally, right?
Agreed.
I did find it kind of weird that like we didn't really get much explanation as to what was going on there with Eli, who all of a sudden like just appears. Because that was kind of, if I had one complaint about this story, it's just that he kind of just appears. We never really got an answer about this Eli who character.
I agree. Yeah.
Makes it looks like Abe defeated him, but then like I guess they would have like referenced one or two things, but they didn't really elaborate on what happened there.
Maybe next series.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because he really did just appear again, save the day, and then got the fuck out of there.
Yeah, Yeah, especially when it makes it look like that he defeated Abe, right? But then
Yeah,
the case that helped. I mean, it makes sense that you'd eventually help him, considering that some sort of link to the family, as they kind of alluded to. But
right.
that's kind of my biggest thing. Is I was like, you know, you don't really say anything about that, but okay. But
My least, sorry, I'm so sorry. My
yeah,
least favorite thing and my most favorite thing was that fucking wizard yapping so goddamn much. But because he did, it gave me so much lore, and I was so. But there was a moment when I was reading, I was like, dude, shut the fuck up! Like he was pulling the usual like, haha, this is my entire plan, and you will never
yeah,
stop me. And I was like, dude, shut up, bro.
yeah.
Like that's how Hellboy must have felt in that moment. Like, dude, is he still going? Like,
We know
I'm dying here, and you won't. Go ahead.
no, like we just know Hellboy's that kind of person who just pulls out his gun and shoots somebody to shut him up, and
Yes,
annoy him so much more when that's how he can't be beaten. So
right.
it just makes that moment when he crushes his skull so much more satisfying, which is definitely the standout moment for me. Is just in general, I think this series has a great blend of all the story and so much hints at the world and the main plot that's going on with all the action. I think it's a really good blend, and just very excited to see as well where all of it's going. Especially,
Me
we have
too.
here of more Nazis still. Okay, we'll see where that goes.
One
And
hundred percent.
learning more about our heroes as they're left astray. They're trying to figure out what to do next. So we'll see. I think it'll be fun to delve into this, uh, into the world of Hellboy even more. I'm very excited as well.
I definitely am too. I know you got two more little. Are you covering the minis?
Yeah. I was just gonna mention them really quick, but yeah.
Okay. Before you do, real quick, do you know what's next? What I haven't looked as far as what's the next book.
I
Do you
do
know what
not.
we're getting into?
I do not remember what Volume 2 is called. I don't think I've read Volume 2, so
Okay. Cool. Cool. Good stuff.
it'll be new to us. Although there could be a case where I start reading it and be like, "Oh, maybe I did read this," but I don't
For
think.
sure. For sure.
But yeah, stay
I
tuned.
just didn't know
Next
if you knew the
video,
title.
yeah, next video we'll be talking about Volume 2 of Hellboy, where I don't remember the title right off the top of my head. But before we do get out of here, I do want to talk about what's interesting is at the very end we have two little short stories, which are actually the first two appearances of Hellboy. First one actually having Hellboy with his iconic coat and I believe his gun as well, uh, which is from San Diego Comic Con Comics issue 2, which is from 1993, San Diego
Wow.
Comic Con. Back when San Diego Comic Con was actually about comics, before it went all Hollywood, believe it or not, where everybody anticipates the Hall H Marvel panel. But anyway, this though we see the very first appearance of Hellboy, and he fights this big dog-like creature, which is a humanoid-like behemoth sort of dog-like creature named Anubis. If you're into Egyptian lore, you would know that name. So it's just a fun little few-page story of him fighting Anubis. And you would definitely want to go back and check out the second story, which was in a comics buyer's guide, where we actually see him fight two of those special Nazis. Specifically, we see him fight the one with the just that's just the head, as well as the ape. So
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go back and read that. It's a
but
must.
it's just the fun little action story that we get there. So yeah, we'll see what.
Super cool that they put those in there too, man. Those are historical pieces. That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's really cool.
yeah. I don't remember if I actually ever read those before. So when seeing that, I didn't realize that like Hellboy. Uh, this first, I didn't realize that the first issue of Hellboy wasn't actually Hellboy's first appearance. It's actually these two things first. Obviously, this
That's
is the
awesome.
first main Hellboy issue, but like, it's always interesting to see where other little characters come about from. So, but yeah, very cool to see all this stuff come together. But there we have it, the first full arc of Hellboy, aka Seed of Destruction. So, this is such an iconic story, and this is a story that the first movie was mainly based upon. So yeah, after reading this, I definitely kind of want to go back and just rewatch that movie, as it's been a few years since I've watched. So
I had that feeling the entire time reading. I was like, "Am I about to go watch the Ron Perlman Hellboys again?" And the answer is yes. The whole time I was reading, I was just thinking about the fucking films. I need to see the newer ones as well. Anyway, you've been on my ass about it a couple times, so now I have a reason. We're doing the Hellboys, so
We
might
do
as
it.
well.
We doing
You
it.
know
We
what I
doing
mean?
it deeper, and so I'm excited for this as we delve deep into all this different Hellboy stuff, and we'll be continuing on to Volume 2 next to Hellboy. So thank you everybody so much who stuck around and listened, and grateful for everybody that's here for this Hellboy journey. So until next time here in the Dingus Den, I will see you all later. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button, everybody. Until next time, laters. Boy.